The phone rang. Once, twice, then stopped. 3 minutes later, it rang again. And the voicemail that followed is the reason this case still keeps investigators awake, because the woman on the other end knew something was wrong, and she was running out of time. If you have ever ignored a missed call, if you have ever thought I will call back later, this story will change the way you look at your phone forever. This is not a legend, not an urban myth. This is a true story built from real cases, law enforcement interviews, and forensic reconstructions. And it all begins with a voice that never made it home. The reason you should keep listening is simple. This is not just about one woman. It is about how easily normal days turn into missing person cases, and how one last call can be both a lifeline and a warning. Let me take you to a Thursday evening in early spring, just after 7 p.m. outside Nashville, Tennessee. The kind of evening where traffic is annoying but manageable. The sky still light, country music leaking from car radios. People heading home from work thinking about dinner. Her name was Megan Carter, 29 years old. Worked as a physical therapy assistant. Loved hiking coffee and long drives with the windows down. She lived alone in a small apartment complex just south of downtown. Nothing fancy, but safe. Or at least it felt that way. Megan was the kind of person who always checked in, texted when she got home, shared her location with her sister. Not paranoid, just thoughtful. That Thursday, she finished work around 6, stopped by a grocery store, picked up pasta salad and a bottle of iced tea. She texted her sister, "On my way home." That was the last normal message anyone ever received from her. At 7:12 p.m., Megan called her best friend, Sarah. Sarah missed the call. She was driving, phone in the cup holder. 3 minutes later, Megan called again. This time, Sarah answered. The voice on the other end did not say hello. It said, "I think someone is following me." Sarah laughed at first, not because it was funny, but because it sounded unreal. Megan was not dramatic, not the type to exaggerate. Sarah asked where she was. Megan said, "I just left the grocery store. I am on Riverside Drive. If you know Nashville, you know that road. Busy, well-lit, normal." Sarah told her to stay on the line. Megan said, "I do not want to look crazy, but the same car has been behind me since the parking lot." Sarah asked, "What kind of car?" Megan paused, then said, "I cannot see it now." Her voice changed. That is when fear becomes real. When confidence drops out of a sentence, Megan said. It just turned its lights off. Sarah told her to call 911. Megan said, "I do not want to overreact." That sentence appears in so many true crime cases, it almost feels scripted. But it is painfully human. People are taught to minimize their fear, to be polite, to not make a scene. Sarah told her again to call 911, to pull into a gas station, a police station, anywhere with people. Megan said, "I am pulling into my apartment complex." This is where the problem starts. We all believe home equals safety. Studies show that people under threat often move toward familiar locations, even if they are not the safest option. The brain wants comfort, not strategy. Sarah stayed on the line. Megan parked. She said, The car parked too. Sarah told her to stay in the car. Megan said, "I think I am being silly." Then the call cut out. Sarah called back immediately. No answer. She tried again. Straight to voicemail. Then the voicemail came. A 42-second recording. Most of it was wind, footsteps, a shaky breath. Then Megan said, "Sarah," a pause. Then, "If something happens, tell my sister I love her." And the line went dead. Sarah drove straight to Megan's apartment, calling 911 on the way. Police arrived within minutes. Megan's car was in the parking lot, driver door open, groceries on the passenger seat, keys inside. Megan was gone. No blood, no signs of a struggle, no witnesses who saw anything. This is where the case became everyone's nightmare. A young woman gone from a well-lit parking lot. Early evening. According to FBI data, most missing person cases resolve within 48 hours. But the ones involving a last phone call often indicate elevated risk. This case was one of those. Police pulled phone records, cell tower data, traffic cameras. Megan's phone last pinged near her apartment. Then nothing. The voicemail became the center of the investigation. Audio specialists cleaned it, isolated background sounds. They identified a car door closing, footsteps that were not Megan's, and a faint male voice, too low to understand. Sarah listened to that voicemail hundreds of times. She said the worst part was the pause, that moment where Megan knew she might not get another chance. The investigation expanded. Police canvassed the area, interviewed neighbors, pulled CCTV from nearby buildings. One camera showed a dark sedan entering the complex. Lights off. Another showed it leaving 8 minutes later. No license plate visible. This is where frustration sets in. Modern life feels monitored. Cameras everywhere. Phones tracking us. But when something matters most, details vanish. The problem we all face is this. Technology gives a false sense of security. We believe being connected means being protected. But connection without action is not enough. Megan hesitated. She did not want to bother anyone, did not want to be dramatic. That hesitation cost her everything. Days turned into weeks. Volunteers searched parks, trails, construction sites. Missing person posters went up, then came down. National attention faded. But Sarah never stopped listening to that voicemail. She noticed something new. A sound at the very end, a soft, metallic click. Investigators reanalyzed it. They identified it as a car trunk latch. This shifted the case. It was no longer a disappearance. It was an abduction. Years later, a similar case happened in Arizona. A woman named Laura made a call to her boyfriend saying someone was following her. She also hesitated to call 911. She survived because she stayed on the line with emergency services. These patterns are studied now. Law enforcement training emphasizes immediate reporting. No hesitation, no politeness. Fear is data. The development in Megan's case came unexpectedly. 3 years later, a man was arrested in Kentucky for an unrelated assault. During interrogation, he mentioned a woman in Tennessee, a parking lot, a voicemail. He knew details that were never public. His phone records placed him in Nashville the night Megan disappeared. In his storage unit, police found Megan's phone destroyed, but identifiable. This was the climax, the moment everyone had waited for. But it was not the ending anyone wanted. Megan was never found. The man refused to talk. Evidence was circumstantial, but strong enough for conviction on other charges. The voicemail became part of a national training program used to teach dispatchers and civilians alike. One call, one decision, one moment of doubt. Psychologists say that in emergencies, people often seek validation before action. They want someone else to confirm the threat. Megan did that. She called Sarah, but the next step never happened. The conclusion is not easy. There is no closure, no reunion, just a lesson that feels unfair but necessary. If you feel unsafe, call for help immediately. Do not wait. Do not minimize. Your instincts exist for a reason. Phones are not just for connection. They are tools for survival. That last call was not a goodbye. It was a warning. And the scariest part is how easily it could have been avoided. If this story stayed with you, then watch the next video, because it might save you one day.